Hello viewers, welcome to CEC lectures. Myself Dr. Preeti Jagwani. I am from Department of Computer Science, Aryabhat College, University of Delhi. So in this series of our introduction to programming in C++, we have covered many topics including object oriented fundamentals, classes, objects and constructors also. In the last couple of classes we have seen constructors in detailed, including parameterized constructor as well. Now before switching to other topics and other features of object oriented programming languages, there are some topics which are small but very important, like nested classes, local classes, object assignments, etc. So for today's agenda of a class is nested classes, local classes and object assignment. Let's see what these terms are relevant to, how these terms are relevant actually. Now whenever I am using the term nested, so nested basically means one within the another, and whenever I am saying nested loops, that means one loop within the another loop, and if I am saying nested classes, that essentially means one class within the another class. So nested classes is a concept in which one class is being declared inside or defined, I can say, defined inside the another class. Now a nested class will be valid only within the scope of its outer class, or we can say enclosing class. So let's say we have two classes. First is class A, and within the definition of class A I am defining another class which is class B. So class B here is known as nested class, while class A is known as enclosing class. So a nested class will be valid only within the scope of the enclosing class, not outside the scope of that upper class or enclosing class. Now there are many other properties of C++ which are essentially fulfilling the requirements of nested class. So nested class are basically, I can say, is a feature of C++ which is seldom used. Now in order to explain the nested class further, let's recall that nested class is a member of a class. Coming to the, now if I am talking about member of a class, that means it could be a public member, it could be a private member, so that means it has to have an access specifier, and depending upon the access specifier it is going to have the access rights as other members. So here what I am trying to say is a nested class has the same access rights as any other member. Now that actually depends upon the access specifier of the nested class. If access specifier of the nested class is private, it will be having same access rights as that of any private member. If you are defining the nested class in the public section, that means it is a public member, then obviously it will be having the access right same as the other public members. Now members of an enclosing class, that means the class which is holding or which is enclosing the nested class, I can say in a non-technical language, the upper class. So the members of an enclosing class have no special access to the members of a nested class, and the usual access rules which are tied up with the private members or tied up with the protected members or maybe public members for that matter will be obeyed. So members of the enclosing class or the upper class, or the, I can say, the class which is containing the nested class, is having no special access to members of a nested class. Now in order to see how all these features work, let us have a program in which we have declared one class A, which is here is the enclosing class, because within that class A I have declared one more class B, and that class B is completely confined or contained, or I can say enclosed within the class A. So as shown in the code, you can see the normal standard #include IOStream using namespace standard. Then we have a class A, And when are we starting the definition of class A, within the public section I have named another class which is class B, and within that class B, what it contains, that class B is having one private member which is named as num, that's of type integer. As far as functions are concerned of class B, there are two functions which are declared, which are defined inside the public area or in the public section, I can say. So basically two functions, one is void get data integer n, so that means an integer n will be given to this get data function as parameter, and the return type is void. And what this get data is doing, so here is a kind of, we can say, very classical definition of this get data, that whatever parameters it is taking from outside world, those parameters will be assigned to the private members of the class. So similar thing is happening here, num is equals to n, that means n is the parameter or n is the value which is taken from outside, and now it is being assigned to num. And similarly, the classical definition of put data says that is the we can say printing of the number num which has been assigned its value in the above function get data. So get data is to take the value of num from outside world, assigning it to the proper variable, and put data is just putting, or I can say displaying or printing the number. And then after that, the class B as well as class A, both are being ended by in usual terms which are semicolons. So here if you can see the whole structure, class A is having one member. That member is not a simple member, but that member itself is a class which is better known as class B, and within that class B there is a private integer variable num and two public functions which are taking the data, assigning it to the num, and then finally putting the data. So class A is having one member which is with one public member, I can say, because in public section this has been defined, and that member is nothing but a full-fledged class which is class B. Now here I can say, if you can see, this time I have defined class B inside the public section. Now this could be another private section also. So you can define the nested class, or you can place the nested class inside the public section or inside the private section. That depends on your requirement of the application. Now coming to the next thing, how are we going to use this in the main program, or I can say in the main module or in the main function. So here please notice the syntax on the second line inside the definition of main, which is A scope resolution operator, B and obj. So please understand here what are we doing. Here B is the nested class. Now I am trying to actually declare an object of class B, and that object is nothing but named as obj, but as the class B is actually a nested class of within the class A, so here the noticeable thing is, whenever I am declaring that object of class B, that has to be preceded by a scope resolution operator and the name of the enclosing class. So as the enclosing class here is A, so A is scope resolution operator, then the nested class B, and whatever name you want to give to that object of the nested class. So the object of the nested class here is being named as obj. So now obj dot get data, that means within the value of n I have given 9, and that 9 will be given to the private member num, and put data is going to do nothing but it will say that the value is num and a 0 is returned because I have defined integer main here. So basically what is important here, we have in the previous code, you can see here we have two classes, one within the another. So A class is known as enclosing class, B class is known as nested class, and while taking the advantage or while accessing this class inside the main module, I have used a scope resolution operator, that means enclosing class scope resolution operator, then nested class, and then the name of the object, and with that object I have called the functions get data and put data. And if you can see, after running this code, this put data is going to give you the output as it is defined here is the number is, and the number here is 9. So the final output of this particular program will be the number is 9. So this, in this way we can declare and define the nested classes and use them. Now a very kind of very common question which should arise in the mind of the listener, that what is the objective of having these nested classes, and are there any special features which are we can say applied to these nested classes. So both the questions will be answered in a short while. Now the main feature of the nested class is that they can access private members of the outer class while having the full power of a class itself. So what do I mean to say here is, please understand. So the nested class is actually a member of the enclosing class, although that's a class in itself. So that means the one advantage is that member is having the full power of a class, and the second thing is the nested class can access private members of the outer class. So a class which is also a member and can access the private members of the outer class. So in some some application scenarios this could be a necessity. So in those kinds of scenarios where we want one member as class to use the other private members of the outer class, we can use the concept of nested classes. But there are some restrictions with the nested classes, so yes, we have to be very careful. But as I have already told you that these are seldom used, because these type of features are available in using the other, we can say, inheritance and other features. These features can be implemented, or those functionalities which are available by using a nested class can also be available by using some other very prominent features of an object oriented programming language. So your nested classes are seldom used. Now coming to the next subtopic of the lecture, which is local class. So till now we have seen the concept of nested classes, and in order to recapitulate, we have two important things. One is the definition, which says that nested class is a class within an enclosing class, and the important thing here is that enclosed class or that nested class is very well kind of, we can say, equipped or allowed to use the private members of the enclosing class. Now I am coming to the next thing, which is local classes. Now whenever I am saying nested class, as we defined in this lecture previously, so nested class, that means a class within another class. But if I am saying a local class, that means this is a class which is declared within a function. So that means one thing, listeners, here is very clear, that a class may be defined within a function. So till this point what we have seen? Till this point we have seen that within the class we may have functions. Now here the tables are round up. That means a class may be defined within a function, and when there is a class which is declared within a function, then that class is known only to that function, not known outside of the function. So, this is we can say a very common and general rule. Whatever variable is declared within a function, unless it is kind of external or having some other properties like static, it is available only to that function. So, here what I am talking about is actually a scope of that particular variable. Now, class, if you can see, class is actually what? Class is also a kind of user defined variable. So, a class is declared, a class can be very well declared within a function, and similar to other members, it will be available, it is known only to the function and not known outside that function in which it is declared. So, here class within a class, nested class, and class within a function is local class. So, let us see how are we going to define the local class inside a function. So, here we have taken one function f, and within that function I have declared one class in the name of my class. Now, here are some things or some points which are worth noticeable. I will make sure that we will we will summarize them again. So, within this class, my class, there is member integer I, as the access specifier is not defined, that means by default it is going to be private. Within the public section, I have taken put I and get I, in which put I is taking one value n, giving it to I, and get I is giving that value of I in return. Now, another noticeable thing here is the kind of, we can say, ending of the class. So, in the end of the class, my class, there is an object which is declared then and there, and that object is named as OB. So, that means here within the function f we have taken one class, and within that class we have the member functions of the class. Now, please notice that member functions of the class are being defined inside the class only. That is a restriction also. I am coming to that. After closing of the class or after ending of the class, we are having one object declared then and there, and we have used that functions put I and get I along with the object within the definition of function. So, you can take that till this point what we were doing. Generally, the approach was we used to take one main function, then class, and then the definition of the class and all those kinds of things, and declaration of object, and then using the members, public, obviously public members, by through the help of your object. So, this is what is being done here. The only difference is the function is not the main function. Here the function is any random function. We have taken f here. So, definition of class, then object declaration, and then accessing public members through that particular object. This is what is being done here. Now, this class, my class, is not known to the outer world. That means after this f function or outside this function f, this my class is not available. Now, if I want to use this particular my class, how are we going to use? Now, please see here the definition of the class, then the object declaration, and the usage of that particular class, which is being accomplished with the help of put I and get I. Each and everything is done inside the function. So, now in the main function, if I want this functionality to get executed, what I am left to do with is just calling this function f. Whenever this function will be called, within that function a class will be declared, object will be there, and accessing of public member functions using that object will also take place. So, within the main function, what I need to do, I need to declare a prototype as we do always, which is void f, and within that main function I have done nothing except the calling of that particular function f. Now, your my class is not known in this particular main function. My class is actually known inside the function f, and whenever there is a call of the function f, then in that particular situation what will happen, that class declaration will happen, object declaration will happen, and then the access of member functions will also take place by just a single call to the function f. Now, there are many restrictions which are applied to local classes. Now, what are those restrictions? So, if you can see here in this thing, the definition of my class which we have just shown says that all member functions must be defined within the class declaration. So, can we see that? Yes, essentially if you can see, the member function put I declared inside the class definition, the member function get I, similar treatment with the get I as well. So, all the member functions will be declared inside the class only. That means there should be no such practice that put I and get I or any functions for that matter are defined, declared inside the class, and then while providing the whole definition we are providing it outside the class and using an scope resolution operator as we do in the context of normal classes. Now, this is not a normal class, this is a local class. So, that local class, within that local class, definition of the functions should be inside the class, not outside the class. So, all member functions must be defined within the class declaration. Also, one more restriction with the local classes is local classes may not use or access local variables of the function in which it is declared. So, that means, and if any local variable is there present inside the function f, local class may not access that local variable of the function in which it is declared. Now, again there are certain, I can say, exceptions to these conditions like static local variables or the variables which are declared as extern. These are the two exceptional things here. Now, it may access time names and enumerator also. Another restriction, no static variables may be declared inside a local class. Your local class cannot have any static variable. Now, what is happening? Because of these so many restrictions, local classes are not used very frequently inside the programming, but as undergraduate students, my dear listeners, you must be having a very clear idea as well as clear distinction between the local classes and the nested classes, which we have covered till now in this lecture. So, hope you are able to grasp that, hope you are able to grab that class within the class is nested class and class within a function is the local class. Now, after covering the two topics of local class and the nested class, we have another smaller topic which is known as object assignment. So, whenever I am saying object assignment, what do I mean? So, assignment is actually, we have an assignment operator if you remember, and that assignment operator is nothing but an is equals to. So, if I am saying, let us say I equals to 3, so what I am doing? I am actually assigning the value 3 or constant 3 to the value of the variable I. So, similarly, if I am talking about the assignment of objects, that means two objects which are of same type can be assigned to one another. What will happen inside the objects during this process, that this process will cause the data of the object present on the right side of the assignment operator to be copied into the data of the object on the left. Now, let us see how it is going to take place. So, we have one my class, and within that my class we have a very standard kind of definition, in the sense there is an I which is the private element, then we have set I and get I. Now, in the main function I am going to declare one object of this my class with the variable value as 99. So, basically I have taken two objects, object 1 and object 2, and with object 1 I have called the function set I, and then object 1 is being assigned to object 2, and this is done by writing object 2 OB2 is equals to OB1. So, essentially what will happen, whatever data is contained in OB1, that data will be assigned from OB1, or I can say copied from OB1 to OB2. So, then we can have printed OB2 as well. So, here in this program the definition or the class is having value of 99 as the variable I, which is a private variable. So, set I is taking a value of 99, providing it to the I of object 1, then object 1 is assigning all of its values to object 2. So, now the I which is there corresponding to object 2 will also have value as 99, and this can be I can say proved by using the output of this particular program. So, what actually is happening, by default all the data from one object is assigned to the other by use of, I can say, bit by bit copy in the sense, here we have taken only one value, but if there are going to be multiple values, then all those values belonging to the object on the right hand side of the assignment operator will be assigned to the values on the left hand side of the to the object present on the left hand side of the assignment operator. So, this is what I mean by object assignment. So, in this particular lecture we have seen three very small but important topics. One is nested classes, another one is local classes, and third one is object assignment. Hope you have enjoyed the lecture. Thank you.